back, everyone. We're going to break down that win by the Copenhagen Wolves over Millennium, taking it all back to the beginning. What did you guys make out of picks and bans?
Well, so the pick and ban for Copenhagen Wolves was a lineup which needed some items to really start becoming effective. We saw the same thing in the game, especially the likes of Trundle, the likes of Yasuo. They need some items before they can really start team fighting well, and they kind of overcommitted with it. The very first dragon fight, they actually started the dragon themselves. Trundle at the point didn't even had his Blade of the Rune King. He had just Cutlass, double Dorans, and 2 daggers. That was it. So Youngbuck, he walked in, died like this. I mean, instant death. And that was an issue for them because they kept starting these fights. They kept starting the dragons. They could never flank around because, again, they were the ones to start the dragons. That's why they lost the fights early on and why Millennium actually pulled ahead.
You mentioned losing the fights, but I actually want to come back before that because Copenhagen Wolves, as we've seen in the spring split already, they are quite good at predicting the lane swaps and choosing the right ways to go.
Well, so what happened at level 1 was, you want to take it?
No, go for it.
Okay, so level 1, we saw the scrying up again from Kevin. They used it yesterday. Copenhagen Wolves as well, they have a very good coach or analyst who then could be helping them out, predicting this thing here. So as soon as they saw the scrying up, they placed wards in the river, so they could actually spot them coming in and moving around. It's exactly what we saw, because Millennium lined up at the tribe bottom bush, and they wanted to land a hook from Jiri over the wall, but because there was a ward in the river, they spotted him, moved away from it, nothing happened from it. So that's very good planning from Copenhagen Wolves and spotting and knowing the situation very fast.
Yeah, it's something we've seen from before, and it also led to a fancy bit of 4-0 play that actually led them to great advantage. Now, I can tell you DeFischer was fairly passionate about this, so I'm going to let him go for this one because he was getting very excited about this upstairs.
Right, so we actually had the same situation yesterday where Rocket played against Millennium. Exactly the same thing. 4 members from Copenhagen Wolves this time. They were in the bottom lane, they took the tower. Now, Creaton was in the top lane together with Jiri, and what happens here is Copenhagen Wolves decide to teleport Youngbuck up to the top lane because now they force Millennium to decide. Do we keep Jiri here to push down the tower, 2 members against the Trundle defending, or do we recall our support to the bottom lane so he can defend the next tower? If they kept him up there, they could have taken the tower, or they would have lost the second tower because there were still 3 members from Copenhagen Wolves pushing. What they did, they recalled, defended the tower, and instead Youngbuck and Airworks, they picked up first blood on Creaton up in the top lane, defended the tower for quite a long time, got some farm on Youngbuck. So it's a very smart play because Copenhagen Wolves, they took, I wouldn't even say the chance, they decided to do this move here, and then they put Millennium in a situation where they quickly need to decide, do we push the tower, give up another one, do we just recall, what do we do here?
What do we make of the rest of the game then? Because they had an early lead, Copenhagen Wolves, but Millennium were able to fight back.
Yeah, Millennium actually, as DeFischer pointed out, Copenhagen Wolves needed time to build up. They got caught out in one of the fights. They tried to go for it. It wasn't enough. We actually do have the replay on the screen as well, which was the Millennium fight, which really went very well for them.
I mean, yeah, if we just pull it up on the screen, the fight itself, the key thing, so we actually do the dragon one now, which was one of the points you talked about earlier, where Copenhagen Wolves, they need to flank around with Evelyn to start the fights. And also they need items to build up. This is very early in the game. If you notice Kauta down in the bottom of your screen on the left side, Blade of the Rune King and a Ruby Crystal and then Doran's Blades. That's it. He's not tanky at all. So if you roll the clip now, we see how when the fight actually starts, Copenhagen Wolves are not strong enough with that come to fight here. And as soon as this, notice Cotnex, he's beautiful engaged onto Woolite. As soon as the AD carry is gone, that is it. Airwalks, he won't be able to flank, he's forced out of the fight. Woolite now here, gets kicked into the team. This of course is their main point. He goes down very, very fast. And even though Kautat lands a beautiful knockable ultimate here, he doesn't have the damage yet. He doesn't have the Infinity Edge yet. And the rest of his team are just too squishy and too weak. So they lose the fight and they were in a bad position from the start.
But then later in the game, obviously, when they have built up their items and their strength, it is very easy for the Copenhagen Wolves to do good in team fights. And we actually have an example of that as well. You can pull that replay up on the screen.
Yeah, so second replay, of course, is the big turning point in the game here for Copenhagen Wolves, where they pick up the ace. Airwalks, he moved the entire way around here. Normally, if you want to push down on a lane against Evelyn, you put some pink wards behind you or on the side of you so you can try and spot her flanking around. Millennium, they didn't do this time. So Airwalks, he could just walk the entire route around them, and then if you roll the clip. Notice also how summoners on the right side here from Millennium are down. Curve has no flash, his hourglass isn't completed yet, so he's an easy target. And he's the best thing Copenhagen Wolves do. They split up the damage. They know Curve is dead already just from Evelyn going on to him and the rest of the team helping. So Kautard and Woolite, they actually go straight towards Creaton, knock him up, and also kill him instantly. So both carries die as soon as the fight starts, and of course there's nothing then Millennium can do.
And tanky Graves, maybe Wallite putting a
Very
case
manly.
in why Europe have been picking Graves quite a lot there, but he went very manly, as you mentioned. He went deep for that kill.
Dashed right into them and just destroyed people.
Man mode, absolutely. And a win for the Copenhagen Wolves. Now, it's always nice to listen to you guys, but we also want to listen to you guys at home. And at the start of the show, we asked you to head over on Twitter and tell us which European LCS team will surprise us the most this split and why. And here are some of the answers you've been sharing with us. The first one is from @Mr. Kaio. Alliance, of course, they were good without a coach, and now they have two. Monty would be proud.
I mean, it's a good point, because it's what they need. They need to fix the map movements, the rotations, because they are great individual players. All of them are great to have on your fantasy team. I myself got a few of them. Thank you very much for yesterday's points. They are perfect players to have individually. So as long as they can rotate around the map, they could be one of the top teams, or will be one of the top teams.
And we'll see them in action in just a second versus the Super Hot Crew. The second tweet is from @GGJimbo. I don't know. One, I think the underdog team Copenhagen Wolves will perform very well this split because of their new underrated lineup with Airwalks and Woolite, and we just saw it.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw Wallite. Wallite has actually performed very well. Copenhagen Wolves have pulled out their third great AD carry. Wallite, of course, we saw in the Challengers scene. They had Reckless originally, then they had Forgiven, of course, in there, and now they pulled out Wallite, who seems to have fitted very well into this team. He's been performing brilliantly. Of course, Airwax alongside him seems to have fitted in well. We just heard from Cowtard herself. He's like, well, there's a lot of work to go, but it's looking good. They just took down Millennium, who were 2-0 yesterday.
Absolutely great eye for talent there at the Wolves. This third one is from @_X_Soul_Reaper. I think Millennium will be the team to surprise us the most. Since Cotnex joined the team, they have been on a rampage. They still did good in this game, and of course they were 2-0 yesterday, so not to take anything away from them.
No, of course not. It would have been perfect before the game to say 2-0 and everything. Still, it's a very strong start. They look a lot stronger than the last split here. Cotnex has been a great addition, especially to, it seems to be the shot calling, and I recall them telling me he's actually making a lot of calls when it comes to especially team fights, and it's one of the things where Millennium have been a lot stronger now in this split. So I'm really enjoying watching Cotnex play, and I think Millennium, again, as long as they keep practicing, as long as they keep playing solo queue, they can remain a very strong team.
We should also point out Kevin on that team. You know, he was solid.
Oh, yeah.
He's been a solid player for a very long time, and now actually his team is starting to perform. We saw him there. He was shining through, 7-3-10 or something at one point. He is pretty much one of the top laners in Europe right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for those responses. And remember that you can always chat with us and your fellow LCS fans at LOL Esports by using that hashtag LCS. It's time to head into our next match, so let's send things over to Joe and Quickshot at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shox. We're on to Game 3 as Alliance prepares to take on the Super Hot Crew. Yesterday, the Alliance had a bit of trouble in the early game against the Copenhagen Wolves, struggling to counter their lane swaps and tower play early on. However, as the game played out, it was clear that Alliance had the superior map positioning and team fight calling, and to be honest, the superior decision-making from Alliance in the late game allowed them to go on and win it.
Yeah, completely true. You know, Alliance really did play patiently. I think is the best way to talk about it. They waited until they hit their item thresholds, which allowed them to force objectives. Froggen was playing Ziggs, and in our post-game interview with him, he specifically talked about how the explosive expert was going to be a champion that would work wonders for him in team fights. He wasn't wrong. He ended 3-1-8. His Mega Inferno Bombs helped secure multiple towers before Alliance won the game. He wasn't always using it for kills. It was for damage and for zoning. Now, Alliance are a team that have come into the summer split with a lot of expectation on their shoulders. I think yesterday they showed good teamfight calling, pretty good late game play, which was not something you would have said of them in the spring split for all of it. But their laning phase in the swaps was not optimal. So there's still definitely an area of their game that needs work, that they can grow and even improve upon.
And on the other side, the Super Hot Crew had some teething problems, I think we can say, with their new lineup. Ziggs got through for Millennium, we know how that ended, and it was one of the big stories of the game as Kerp just dominated Selfie in the mid lane with 2 very early kills. Aside from a couple of decent team fights, the Super Hot Crew were just generally outclassed, I think, from the day one table leaders.
Yeah, it's true. Super Hot Crew were outclassed and outplayed. They were bullied in the game. You can't take away from them they managed to win some key team fights late, but you know, they held out for 55 minutes, and that was the greatest thing that they really accomplished, I'm afraid. It was in part due because Millennium were unable to close, but you do have to give some credit to Super Hot Crew. They dug deep, they won their fair share, did what they needed to in some fights, and nearly turned the game around, but it just wasn't enough. The problem just came from individual mistakes. Early game misplays to late game decision making, like not bursting down Baron, you know, giving that one away to Kerp. Selfie on Twisted Fate didn't get off ultimates. He was interrupted by Kerp, so his positioning and his decision making wasn't ideal. Impaler didn't get going on Lee Sin. It just went wrong early on. He tried to focus the bottom lane, look for ganks. They just didn't yield results. He lost farming time, he lost pressure, and he never really recovered. So I'd like to see him on a different champion and maybe not trying to force something so hard.
Well, with the addition of We Will Fail and a new coach, the Super Hot Crew is really hoping to improve their game this split. And while Froggen sees a lot of similarities between the two teams, Selfie and Crew believe they need to shut down both Alliance's mid laner and Shook to stand a chance.
I believe Super Hot Crew will do better at the beginning of the season since they have like a new support and a new coach, so it will help to motivate them.
Well, last split we went 2-2 and we've been scrimming them a lot, and I think right now we are better than them.
We already know how they play, they already know how we play, so I think we can both do really good plans for each other and just see who outsmarts each other, really.
I mean, it's gonna be a good match because it's against my former AD carry from Lemon Dog, so it's gonna be fun.
I think they're making a lot of like steps to improve, so I don't think they'll end up in relegations like last split.
When they swapped Selfie for moves in the last season, they had a lot of problems after laning phase. They pretty much didn't have a single clue on how to actually play team fights out, how to play the map out, which gave them huge problems in securing wins, even though they played really well individually. I think that's the same kind of problems we actually have as a team, so we match pretty even up against each other.
Shook is like doing so much for Froggen. He's like always putting pressure on mid. There's no way Froggen is gonna lose mid lane probably because Shook is always there. It's like Froggen cannot lose mid. It's like it's impossible.
Gonna give my all, and if we win a game like that, it's gonna be good for us.
Interesting words from Selfie there, who plays in the mid lane for the Super Hot Crew, saying Froggen doesn't lose mid lanes. It's impossible for Froggen to lose mid lanes because Shook's always there. That doesn't bode well for this matchup.
It doesn't, and strong words all around. I mean, Froggen basically calling out Super Hot Crew and saying they got this wrong, they got that wrong. I think We Will Fail has got a little bit of a emotional investment in this game as well. He definitely wants to get some revenge, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, some revenge on his old AD carry. I can get my words out, I promise. So guys, let's check out the starting lineups for our two teams. On the blue side, we have Alliance with Wicked in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Froggen in the mid lane, and the duo of Tabs and Nif.
And of course, on the red side, it is the Super Hot Crew. Mima up top, Impaler in the jungle, Selfie in the mid, with Mr. Rolls and We Will Fail as the AD carry and support.
So let's talk a little bit about champion select and what we can really expect to see from these two sides.
So LeBlanc is a consideration as far as bans are concerned for Selfie. Maybe Yasuo as well. It is something that Millennium did yesterday. It worked in their favor. Banning Alliance, I think target banning a player is not the best way to go. I think all of them have pretty solid champion pools. You could argue you could force Wicked onto something maybe a little predictable. Maybe. But what I'd like to see from Super Hot Crew is them picking champions that they don't want to deal with for whatever composition they want to run. So if they want to just get rid of champions that would disrupt their playstyle, I think that's the key for them.
Well, we'll see if Wicked's Irelia actually gets through the ban today, because that's been a big focus for a lot of these teams. First ban out of the gate is actually Rengar, aimed straight in there at Mima. We know Mima to be a phenomenal Rengar player, and a lot of whispers of Rengar really coming back into strength. We also see Kayle taken away here by Alliance, and on the other side, Kassadin, pretty standard red side ban we've been seeing the last couple of days. Jax also taken away by the Super Hot Crew.
I'm going to keep ranting about first banning Kassadin on the red side. I like to see it as a third ban, see if there is any possibility of baiting blue side into banning it. But as you said, it is completely standard. LeBlanc is still up and available. We've seen Froggen playing it many, many times in the past. Irelia is still up as well. I think Wicked is just praying that it doesn't get banned, at least according to the camera for the time being. But a lot of talking on Super Hot Crew. They're not sure where they want to go.
Final ban, Twisted Fate, and what will the Super Hot Crew ban? Finally, it's going to be Twitch, so Irelia does go through. We'll see if Wicked goes for that one. Looks like they may be looking to secure Tabs and AD carry early on here in the picks. Solid first pick there with Lucian. Yeah,
it's something that Alliance continue to do. We've seen first pick Lucians like throughout the playoffs all the time in the LCS. It was the rage. It was also first pick yesterday. When Alliance were on their side, they first picked Lucian and followed up with the Lee Sin lock-in. So there's the possibility of Lee Sin, if it's not taken away by Super Hot Crew, to be picked up by Shook, and we'll see what they decide to prioritize.
On the side though, it's Thresh here for We Will Fail It, and Mima gonna get his hands on Shyvana. So, what will Alliance go with here next for their second and third round picks? Shyvana, Thresh, two pretty standard first and second picks over for Super Hot Crew.
Yes, and it gives you already an indication. Shyvana can do well in the 1v2s, can split push if given the opportunity. We've seen just how effectively Kevin was playing Shyvana in the previous game. I like the Thresh pick. It's the first time we're going to see We Will Failure. He played Leona yesterday. Had a few good plays, but unfortunately his team fell behind. So when you're playing Leona, you were all in. And if your team can't back you up, it's difficult to turn things around. Thresh is a champion that can do that. Land the right death sentence, land the right lantern gank, and all of a sudden, you can help your team put them in a better position. So good lock-ins, but we're not revealing anything from either comp or either team this early.
Yeah, we see Lulu there, the choice for Alliance, along with Lee Sin for Shook. So again, as you said about not revealing anything, Lulu could be in the top lane with Wicked, could go in the middle lane, hell, could end up even being support.
My gut is saying support. Alliance as a team very seldom first pick a mid lane unless they really feel, I mean, I can remember a first pick Yasuo in the spring split, but it's not something they do all the time. Having the versatility is very important because now Super Hot Crew have to guess. They have to make a prediction, where's it going to go? Let's assume probably not Wicked. I think, I would be more inclined to think it's going to be Nif or Froggen. And this is where all of this deliberation is coming from. This is a very slow pick and ban phase. Neither team are going, super hard and super quick because they're reacting to what their opponents are locking in.
Elise was locked in here for Impaler in the jungle, and they're going to take Draven as well for Mr. Oz. Always good to see a bit of Draven.
Well, you're either a Draven player or you are not. And nor am I. Mr. Oz, he pulled it out in the spring split. He did a very good job on the champion. The scary thing for Impaler, he's 5 games played in Elise, 0 victories. So he played it a fair amount in the spring split. He tried to, but it never amounted to actually securing him wins. And it's going to have a similar problem that the Lee Sin did earlier, or did yesterday. If he tries to force ganks and tries to force situations, he's going to be putting himself behind. Super Hot Crew have given themselves the opportunity to counter-pick whatever this mid-lane pick will be from Alliance, and we'll see. They've got 15 seconds to decide who they're going to lock in. Ziggs is still up. It's going to be Lulu if that Leona does get locked in, so it's looking like a pretty standard comp, a little bit of everything. There's Engage, there's Poke, there's Disengage. Leona and Lee Sin, they can do both jobs. So Alliance, a very well-rounded, balanced team composition right now.
Of course, Wicked getting his hands on Irelia, a champion that's been banned a lot against him recently. A champion which he's professed his love for many a times. So, final pick here then for the Super Hot Crew. It's not going to be Poppy, I'm afraid.
I don't think it will be. And LeBlanc is going to be a difficult lock-in because Lulu can deal with LeBlanc early on. The shields and the wild growth prevent it being blown up. Twisted Fate was banned away. Selfie's played Fizz in the past. But I don't know if he's going to be brave enough to challenge, Froggen's Lulu if he wants to go that route. So, big questions now for... I mean, he could default and go Orianna. You've got ball delivery systems with Thresh, with Elise, with Shyvana if they jump in there. And it's something he's defaulted to when there isn't an optimal counter pick, I think is the best way to explain. So let's see what he's going to go for.
Well, switches away last couple of seconds here to Yasuo. So that will be the mid lane again, and really Yasuo rising to popularity here so far in the summer split of the European LCS up against Froggen's Lulu.
Assassin versus quasi-support. Similar situation to the previous game. If Selfie can get aggressive early, he can bully Froggen around in the early stages, but thanks to the wild growth in the shield and the fact that Lulu can Glitzer Lance and turn Yasuo into a Munchkin, I don't know if there's going to be kill threat later on. Yasuo was banned against Selfie yesterday, so we need to keep that in mind. He is a Selfie player. Super Hot Crew have got a pretty good pick composition. Land some CC, you can blow somebody up. Alternatively, they also have split pushing power with Yasuo and Shyvana, so there's tools for them to make use of, and it's up to Alliance to disrupt.
See if the Super Hot Crew can pick up their first victory of the season here. Floundered a little bit yesterday, weren't really able to ever get a grasp on that game. Alliance, of course, weren't without their problems against the Copenhagen Wolves yesterday either. So, see how that one all works out. And of course, you guys have been picking who you think is going to win these games over on lolesports.com. So let's check in and see how these ones are adding up. 91%, a whopping vote for Alliance.
That is the largest percentage that we have seen this split yet. Out of the 7 games that we have witnessed, And yeah, fan favorites. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what this vote does boil down to most of the time. Froggen did have one cautionary note in the pre-game video where he was saying that the mistakes and problems that Super Hot Crew had were mistakes and problems that Alliance also had. So we'll have to see who manifests these mistakes the most, because if you can take advantage of them, obviously you can win games.
Heard from Impaler as well that these two teams went 2-2 in the spring split. They practice a lot together as well, so they're very familiar with how each other is going to be playing these games. We're going to find out how it all goes as the Lions take on the Super Hot Crew here on our second day of Super Week. Still a whole bunch of games to go throughout this week. Of course, another 4 games to go after this one. Actually, that's a total lie. 3 games to go after this one. 4 including this one. There we go. Cover my back on that.
So not too bad, not too bad. Shook is a little shaken up at the moment. He forgot his trinket. So 30 seconds on the clock. Not going to be able to make use of that tool, as realized it and backed away. And I think we're going to see defensive starts. Neither team is making any sort of movement towards their opponent's side of the jungles, but there is always the opportunity for a late invade, so let's keep our eyes on how this one plays out.
Currently sat complete line on both sides of the map, and even if Alliance had something planned for level 1, Shook kind of
whiffed it.
Whiffed it, yes. That's the right terminology, I think, to use for that one. He is back now in position, though, as we see Tabs and Mr. Rolls having a bit of a dance, swinging the axes, swinging the pistols, and there is a ward down from Tabs, which will have been spotted by Mr. Roll, so they know it's there. Meanwhile, Mima and Wicked having a dance on the top side as well. Looks like we're going to be in for a fairly standard start.
And thus far, it looks like we're going to have straight head-to-head lanes. So it was just the previous game, Copenhagen Wolves Millennium, that traded back and forth a little. We'll see who's going to come out ahead in the skill matchups. It's going to be interesting, although as I say that, it does look like Nif and Tabs may be moving towards a lane swap. Maybe a late invade. We'll keep our eyes on how that develops. But, you know, Alliance, you would consider them to have a higher individual skill level in each respective role to the Super Hot Crew. Just experience and being involved and how long the players have been around the scene. We'll see if it manifests. If they do go for this lane swap, who's going to get ahead? Because, of course, Nif on Leona, it's a bit more difficult to get tower damage and push the wave out as effectively as a Thresh can. So we'll see how this works.
Find out about that one. Impaler here just going through his jungle with the help of Mima. And in the mid lane, Yasuo versus Lulu. Lulu, of course, in the hands of Froggen. Selfie got himself the Yasuo this time around. Actually going in there for a little bit of harass early on. Actually took more damage from the minions than he dished out.
Yeah, we'll need to keep our eyes on how these level 1s are starting off, because today we've seen a lot of top laners and junglers, you know, buddying up with their jungle and going around to clear their own camps. And the only reason I highlight that is, you know, with 4.6 and 4.5, they were pushing into their opponent's jungle and stealing the camps away that way, you know, going for the tower pressure, 2v1, 3v0s, 4v0s, etc. So this is an evolution that could stem from the trinkets being earlier and can also stem from the additional damage reduction on the bottom towers. The damage reduction is boosted by 10 to all outer turrets. It's up to 30 now, so it is more difficult to get those early towers down. Regardless, it looks like 4 members of Super Hot Crew will be meeting up in this bottom lane. They will be bumping into Wicked and Shook if Wicked and Shook opt to defend.
Tabs and Nif also pushing up on that top side, and there is Wicked going to be spotted out. So this is going to be a big push from the Super Hot Crew. Actually, Mima going to TP away to the top lane, so he's going to try and keep a hold of that turret as well as he possibly can. Actually, Wicked TPing up there as well. So from what was just a 2 versus 0 turned into a 2v1, and now a 3v0 as Mima actually leaves the lane.
So they should be trading towers. It looks like Wicked is doing probably the smart decision here. He's stealing away the double golem, so grabbing himself some additional golden experience to just get that marginal lead over his opposite number, Mima. Towers will be falling around about the same time, so an interesting start to the game. And this is something that we as spectators need to keep our eye on, is how the teams are going to evolve this low-level, level 1 and early game decisions with the trinkets, with the towers, and with the pushes. Towers should fall in this wave, and it looks like it'll be the same in the bottom, so even Stevens thus far.
Even Stevens, both lanes just letting those minions go down to the turrets as well before they end up finishing things off. Tab's doing that perfectly well.
Middle lane, Selfie.
Oh, Selfie is truly going to go down. Shook taking a lot of damage. Ignite ticking away. Actually will survive there thanks to the shield coming out of Froggen. Impaler actually going to try and get involved with this one, but Wicked there as well. Can't chase on through. And in the end, Selfie surviving just about.
Manages to outlast that Ignite tick. The tower dive from Alliance obviously not paying off. We didn't see the setup for that dive, but Selfie, I think, very lucky to get away. He's relying on his passive shield to stay alive. Nif does not have Ignite, so let's see if he stands. That's a great wind wall.
Oh, wind wall coming down. Impaler, though, going to take all the damage, and they've walked away from it. We will Failure coming around the side. Actually, Impaler repelled there right at the end. Didn't have anywhere to actually go with it, so he just kind of went up in the air and went straight back down again. No kills, though, but very, very close.
Yeah, very close indeed. Alliance, the first ones to make the moves. They responded to the tower pressure in the bottom lane, I think, quite well. Wicked used his teleport to get up to the top lane, but only after Mima had channeled his teleport. So the cooldowns are a little disjointed, but he made the decision once he had that information. They traded towers in the top and the bottom lane, and Alliance instantly responded by sending pressure to the mid lane. The gank didn't succeed though, so Alliance unfortunately don't gain anything from it, but you do have to give them props for trying, and it's just a proactive approach to the early game.
Selfie back now into that lane, got himself a man set to first, so looking to stay a little bit longer after all the harass that Froggen's put down onto him. The 10 CS lead has opened up for Froggen in that middle lane. Meanwhile, we have Wicked and Mr. Ralls. Wicked's going to take a lot of damage if he's not careful. Actually picked up a Doran's shield as his first buy there, obviously, after starting with that Doran's blade from the get-go.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on Mr. Ralls as well, see how many stacks he gets of that adoration, and how quickly he can cash it in. It's quite interesting when you look at Draven, because you ought to assume he's a very aggressive champion in the lane, which he is. You want to get those spinning axe damage down, but you actually don't want to kill anybody early on. You want to build up those adoration stacks and get a nice big chunk of bonus gold once you are ready. So as it stands, AD carry in the bottom lane for Super Hot Crew. Mr. Ralls has been CSing. He's marginally behind that of Tabs, but Alliance have had a lot of map movements. They've had multiple members of their team in this red side of the jungle for Super Hot Crew. They were pressuring top, now they were pressuring red, and now they're stacked in the middle. So a lot of mobility from Alliance, and they've fought Impaler.
Impaler taking a lot of damage. Good Cocoon comes down. There is Selfie actually going in. Shook taking a lot of damage. Did get the wild growth onto him there as well. As Nif tries to go in, stuns up Selfie, and again, so much damage done, but no first blood.
Not this time round. And Lulu functions in a similar way to Kayle against assassins like Yasuo. We've seen Yasuo, oh no, they've caught We Will Fail Out, almost caught We Will Fail Out. And the moment somebody gets caught by that last breath, if your wild growth timing is quick enough, you just instantly mitigate all of the pressure and all of the presence that Yasuo has. So Shook's going for the invade, he wants ready, get it!
Oh, nicely done there. Stolen away in the end with a Q, and actually Smite was
too early.
Missed. Yeah.
It was just too early. That's actually a worrying sign. You know, Impaler was off his game yesterday. He didn't do well in Lee Sin. He's already had one or two questionable moves this game already, and not smiting your own red buff. When you know the damage, you know exactly. It was stolen by a Sonic Wave, so I think Impaler a little unlucky. We're going to start off with the Dragon. With the Spiderlings, they can tank up the Dragon quite effectively, and there's no one from Alliance to contend. So this is smart play. This is very good information, or very good calling from Super Crew to realize there's no one from Alliance they could challenge, and they grab a very early Dragon.
Yeah, nice call. Puts them ahead in gold, albeit just by 300-400 or so at this stage of the game. So early lead in there for the Super Hot Crew, despite the fact that they are struggling in this mid lane. AD carry a little bit behind as well there, 80-74. Tabs having the lead when we compare the two ADCs, and Tabs just been sat in this top lane the entire time, farming away.
Got himself up to 82 CS, he's got a BF sword already. Mr. Ralls is keeping up in CS, so that we do have to keep an eye on that. And I'm actually very impressed with Alliance's early game. They've been in Super Hot Crew's face multiple times. They have not lost out in CS. But it has been at the cost of both Wicked and Miner. By the 10-minute mark, considering how early these two respective champions could have been in lane CSing, they're at 34 and 44 CS, which is pretty low numbers. I think top lane is at 10. The average sits around 52 to 55. So they're behind the league average at 10 minutes. And we'll see who's going to have a bigger impact once the fights start, because Mimer's Dragon's Descent can be very disruptive if it hits multiple people.
Right now, both teams just going back to having a bit more passive farming. Actually, Mr. Roll's headed towards the top side of the map here, so trying to get in lane against Tabs. That should keep them ticking around about even. We will fail in the meantime, realizing there's not much thing to do apart from get some good vision down, and we'll get 2 wards in the Alliance jungle there. So nice little bit of warding for him. In fact, Super Hot Crew here gonna start congregating with 4 men, maybe gonna look to push down this turret.
They've got a lot of support, but thanks to the culling from Tabs, they don't have the minions anymore. So, you know, Tabs just wisely defends at the cost of just 1 cooldown. So Super Hot Crew trying to make something happen. I think they've got a little bit of vision to play with, and they'll know that blue buff will be up in the not too distant future. So maybe with the wards that Super Hot Crew placed at the right now, they will be looking to invade and go for steal.
Let's have a look from that one. The wards were put down by We Will Fail just a few moments ago there. And interesting little start here. Obviously, already seen the first dragon of the game going down. A turret apiece is where they currently stand. Also, a lot of damage done when we look at those mini fights in the mid lane, but still, up until now, no first blood being recorded for either team. And Shook, expecting that the Super Hot Crew were actually going to come in for another push onto this top lane, did move through with anticipation toward the top side of the map, but actually, no one even going to be there. The duos have backed away, picking themselves up. The Golems and Impalers already down on the bottom side of the map.
I like the fact that Super Hot Crew instantly backed away. They realized that they didn't have an opportunity, or they didn't have a way into that tower, so just go back to the lanes, carry on farming as best as you can. Selfie's gone a slightly different route on his Yasuo build, got early Berserker's Greaves and Vamp Scepter, so he's going to be delayed in terms of hitting that scary power spike, where we like to see the Static Shiv and then, you know, maybe Blade of the Ruined King or Infinity Edge or, you know, another damage item, because we're 3 for 3 today on Yasuo games. Every game we've casted has had a Yasuo, and this is a slightly different build from the norm. We'll see if it works out for Selfie, because all of the previous Yasuos have taken time to scale, have taken time to get to a powerful point.
Yeah, I think part of that just needed that Vamp Scepter to actually stay in lane then. Froggen completely bullying him out. There is Shook. And Tab's actually moving over with Nif as well now towards that mid lane once again, maybe looking for a bit of action. Is Impale going to come across? Nif going to be able to lock him up. There is the repel, but he's got nowhere to go except onto the lantern. Gets him back to safety.
Solar Flare was just too early. Nif, had he delayed that or tried to time it for the repel or something similar, maybe that would have worked out. Unfortunately, Impaler was able to get away quickly enough, and that obviously allowed We Will Fail's good positioning with the lantern to get him out cleanly. So that's already a positive play from We Will Fail. He saved 1 or 2 lives with that lantern. So good start, but again, it's all about Alliance. They are the ones making the aggressive plays. They are the ones trying to disrupt Super Hot Crew. So we'll need to see where the first play from the Super Hot Crew stems from. It's been a farm fest. Tabs has got a minute advantage in CS. But other than that, it's pretty close in all aspects. Don't forget, Super Hot Crew did take that first dragon. So it'll be respawning in a minute. We'll see if they want to go and try sneak it away again, or if Alliance will try contest.
Alliance had no vision of that, as I seem to recall, so we'll see if they've actually got the timer down on it. It's Mima going to jump in aggressively here on towards Wicked. Shook was just a little bit further back. He'd actually come down to that lane to see if he could get in there, maybe for a possible gank. That wasn't really on the cards for them, though. And now we see the team starting to move around about that dragon area. Already a pink ward down in the brush, but Impaler stood on a ward himself.
From a stats perspective, Mima was always going to win that fight. With a Giant's Belt and the bonus armor and MR that he gets from his ultimate, it just makes it exponentially more effective. In addition, he had a Blade of the Ruined King, so the slow, the lifesteal, the attack damage. Wicked's got nothing completed yet but his boots. So, still working himself towards the makings of a Trinity Force. He will also need more time before he becomes scary. So Dragon's up in 20 seconds. I'm pretty confident Alliance had vision of the pit. So I think they should see the icon up on their minimap. And it's just going to be up to Super Hot Crew to see how they play it out. They may not be as brave anymore because Alliance have got a little more powerful. There is a teleport available from Wicked, so it is risky unless they know where their opponents are. And for the time being, there's a few questions.
Oh, Dragon has now spawned in. That ward that caught Impaler a little bit earlier on is still in place there on the curve bush, so Alliance know that Dragon is going to be up and available to them. They've got 4 men around that area on the map. The question is, do they want to try and get themselves in there? As I said before, both Mima and Wicked have got teleport available should they need to be called in. And Alliance can simply play the positioning game here and say, okay, if you go towards Dragon any further, we're just going to keep pushing mid.
Yeah, and Super Hot Crew have to be careful if they start Dragon. They run the risk of getting hit by the Solar Flare and then a multi-man knockup from Wild Growth. That amount of crowd control would seal the deal in a team fight. They've caught Nif!
They've caught out Nif. Will they go on to him? There is a hook landing as well. We will fail it. All in the middle of the team. The knockup coming around as well. Ultimate comes down, and actually everyone going low with Nif in particular. Finally, the first blood will land. That will go over towards Selfie. Shot will fall as well. Looking good here for the Super Hot Crew. Can they finish off tabs? There is the knockup. That's surely going to seal the deal, and it will go over to Selfie. That's a 3-0 for the Super Hot Crew, and they're going to get the Dragon as well.
Very, very well executed by the Super Hot Crew. They landed the crowd control that they needed to without being affected by the Solar Flare, without being really negatively impacted by that Wild Growth. The fight actually took a very long time to conclude because of the fact that there's not a massive amount of damage across the board. You know, Selfie's Yasuo ultimate didn't really do a lot. Take a look at this. He's going to catch a few members, and it doesn't really burst anyone down. To be fair, the Wild Growth also came instantly afterwards, so that does play into his favor. And Mr. Rolls, he gets 690 bonus gold from the kill on Shook. It's about to pop up, plus 300, plus 690. 1,000 gold from that kill. And obviously just the chasing potential was very, very good. So well-executed team fight from Super Hot Crew. They initiated, they caught the CC at the right time. They made the first play, and that's why they won it.
Interesting to see how they left that kill over to Selfie as well there. Mr. Rolls could have definitely had that away himself if needed, but as you said, he got a lot of gold for that kill anyway, and that's actually giving him now Bloodthirst, a Brutalizer, and the Avarice Blade as well. So a little bit scary is this Draven moving forward.
All of those stacks have been cached. He's going to start stacking them up again. So this is a similar situation. Super Hot Crew will be happy to play passive until Dragon's up. Now Mima is in a little bit of trouble. He's losing this badly, actually.
Yeah, Wicked actually already did get him low, forced the ultimate out of him to escape from Wicked, and in the end, just showing that Wicked having a good time up in this top lane. Got himself a little CS lead, not quite up to getting that Trinity Force finished off, although he does have the Zeal and the Sheen already picked up for him, so he's not going to be too far away from picking up that Trinity Force as a whole. Some other items that have come in here, the themes that was done earlier on from Froggen is now joined by a needlessly large rod. His opposite number, Yasuo for Selfie. Static Shiv is done with the Cutlass in there as well.
Yeah, and something to point out regarding that duel between Mima and Wicked. Wicked, of course, has got his Heat and Style, his W, which will be dealing true damage. So, there you go, Draven. So that's obviously going to help mitigate the defensive stat that Mima gets in Shyvana. 75 true damage per auto attack because it is at max rank. That is obviously where Wicked has already put all of his points. So the longer those fights go, the better the chances of Wicked actually winning it, because you can't mitigate true damage, you can't reduce it. And that's probably part of the reason why Mima ran away. He also didn't have Dragon's Descent available to him. So we did see in that mid lane a little bit of picks. Super Hot Crew with a small gold lead, a few thousand gold at the 20-minute mark, but they're far from being in control of the map. It's still Alliance pushing, roaming in the jungle. It's Alliance moving around, not Super Hot Crew.
And Alliance are now moving in towards that middle turret. And, well, the ultimate from Mr. Rolls thrown out. I said, no, he's going to get rid of that minion wave so that you can't actually stick around. He's actually just finished off the Ghost Blade there.
It works in his favor when you consider he's going to be sort of run down by Wicked, run down by Lee Sin. If he can get the movement speed increase from the Ghost Blade and step out of a Solar Flare, I think it's quite a smart move. It also benefits him. Every single stat that Ghostblade gives you works in favor of Draven. So, good pickup. I actually like it because of the fact that if Mr. Rolls gets caught up or locked down at all, there's very little protection outside of really Thresh. He's got to be the lantern. He's got to have a good box. He's got to have a good flay down to really peel and protect Mr. Rolls.
Another item coming in there. Wicked has now finished off that Trinity Force, so could be a few more problems for Mima, although he himself now has pretty much that Sunfire Cape finished off. Got himself the Chain Vest and of course that Giant's Belt from a little bit earlier on as well. Blue Buff was just secured on the Super Hot Crew side of the map. Froggen also got his just a few moments before that one. If you look at the CS, actually there's a bit of a total starting to work up here for Tabs actually in the lead over Mr. Rolls, who's still trying his best here in this mid lane, trying to get back up really to compare himself there with Mr. Rolls, but basically because of that kill that gifted him so much gold, he's still 1,000 gold up.
And the 2 dragons as well, so the global objectives being in favor of Super Hot Crew. If Super Hot Crew can continue to control the Dragon Pit, that will be a definite way to put themselves in a strong lead in this mid-game. But Alliance won the mid-game yesterday against the Wolves. Alliance fell behind a few thousand, and once they actually lost a very bad team fight at 23 minutes, and then Alliance decided to get on the same page as a team and they started winning fights. So it could be a similar situation. You can't discount them because the lead is not big enough to really say, look, Super Hot Crew are definitely ahead, especially when you look at CS. They're behind now in every lane except mid.
And that one is very, very close still. Did see the Blade of the Ruin King actually finished off for Selfie as his second item, so interesting. Most of the Yasuo players that we've seen over the last 2 days have gone for that Blade of the Ruin King second. We've seen a couple of Trinity Forces as well as that second item as well. Right now, Alliance actually letting the Super Hot Crew move around that middle area and actually stalking through Super Hot Crew jungle here. They're going to try and set something up. Pink Ward going to be spotted out by Super Hot Crew, and in the end, Alliance just circle around and back away.
Wicked is the man to watch as far as Alliance are concerned, because Mima cannot split push against him. Mima's losing this trade, you're noticing, every time they fight. Selfie, if he picks a fight with Wicked, one-on-one, I actually think Wicked may be able to win that one. He doesn't have a sustain after. Oh, Mima's in trouble.
Yeah, Mima's in a lot of trouble. The dash comes in, flash as well. Has he got enough damage? No! Mima gets away.
Manages to use the Bilgewater Cutlass. That was very well played by Wicked, though. He just straight up 1v1'd him, managed to use the dash from his Q as Mima was flying away. Unfortunately, didn't get in range close enough to secure the kill. But until Super Hot Crew can deal with Wicked, they can't split push. Super Hot Crew need to be able to 1v1 Wicked before they can start playing the map and getting control, which is what their team comp can do very well. Tried a Dragon for mid turret, and this could be another very big team fight. Dragon's Descent into Last Breath, that's what the initiation tool could be.
Well, Mima is going to be stepping forward. Selfie going to go through with him as well. Here comes We Will Fail from around the side. They're going to have to fight here. Alliance ulti's coming in left, right, and center. Wild Growth actually used on Tab. Nif managing to lock up everyone, but it's Wicked that actually falls first. There's a great kick coming in. He'll secure the kill onto Mr. Roll. We Will Fail goes down. Tab's also picked off there at the back, and that's a 3-for-2 in favor of the Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, Super Hot Crew didn't get the damage quickly enough onto the carries. They focused on Wicked. He was up on the front line. Even though they trade 2 for 3, Super Hot Crew are going to get a tower out of this as well, thanks to the fact that Selfie and Mima saved their ultimates. Selfie in particular saved his ultimate for quite late in that fight. Managed to get it down when it was the most important. Another big team fight, another one that Super Hot Crew end up winning. Alliance was split. I mean, they didn't have the best focus. The Wild Growth was good, and this is where the Last Breath comes in. It was onto Nif and Wicked. But you'll see Froggen untouched. Tabs, he survives for so long, he actually shuts down Mr. Rolls himself. And had Super Hot Crew killed either Froggen or Tabs quicker, that could have been even more in their favor. But at the end of the day, they still won the team fight.
Well, Lions starting to lose any grip on this game, although hesitant to say that after what we saw yesterday against the Copenhagen Wolves. I think that was about 6,000 gold at one point, that game, that they were in lead 4 or 6, one of those two. A big lead either way that they managed to claw back. This one is in a similar region for them, 4,500 gold. Currently the Super Hot Crew lead this, and well, not quite catching We Will Fail as intended, I think.
That Zenith Blade fight just quite wasn't enough for the kill.
Wow.
And We Will Fail managed to get away. I'm actually impressed with We Will Fail's Thresh thus far. He's had pretty good flays, he's landed a few death sentences, and, you know, he was coming into the Super Hot Crew, he replaced Mixer, who, in my mind, had a very good laning phase. but Mixer's mid to late game, he often was out of position and maybe overzealous and over-eager on his initiations. We will fail. Gets away with his life in that situation. Maybe just going to be a little more cautious for the rest of this game. And Super Hot Crew, again, just biding their time, trying to build up power. With Selfie going for the QSS as his next item, again, he's delaying that hard-hitting insta-give power spike, but it does allow him to get out of the CC that, you know, stun from Wicked, stun from Nif, slow from Froggen as well. So it's a trade-off, I guess. He can do more by removing the lockdown.
Cap done there for Froggen as well while we're on the topic of items, and we're going to be seeing a couple of randoins coming the way of Alliance as well. Wicked and Shock will be the two to pick those up. While we're on the items with Alliance, Tab's also got himself the Trinity Force finished off, of course, second one now on their team. Almost forgot the name of Trinity Force. Freak would literally have my head for doing that. And Super Hot Crew actually moving down towards the inner turret there in that mid lane, but not actually catching anything. Froggen, meanwhile, chasing Mima out of position there as they come down through the river, and they may just clash heads here. The Super Hot Crew inside of Alliance's jungle, taking away the red buff.
If I were Alliance, I'd be scared. They've lost the last two major team fights that have taken place, and unless Alliance really land their CC effectively, Super Hot Crew have got a lot of damage sources that have built up. So right now, Super Hot Crew pushing the bottom lane. Mr. Rolls is clearing out the minion wave, and nobody from Alliance has responded yet. There's no teleport on Wicked either, so this is going to be a lot of damage in this time. It might go down if they stick around.
I think it may just do as well. Nif actually is finally coming in to try and stop that one from happening. Froggen in the middle of the map, kind of in no man's land for what's actually happening here on the map. He's going to have to start moving around. In fact, he's pushing himself up through that mid lane here and may even be able to get himself some free damage. Meanwhile, Wicked has taken the inner turret in that top lane as well. So even though it's the Super Hot Crew making the move towards this inner turret in the bottom lane, it's Alliance that are actually picking up turrets.
It is. Froggen is going to get a lot of damage on the inner turret. He's decided to back away now as Mima has moved himself into lane. Isn't going to be able to interrupt it. Oh, had the option to Dragon's Descent, but now Froggen might get caught out.
Yeah.
That little bit of gusto, he needs to run north. He's got wards, he's got vision, he can make it out cleanly. There's a lot of movement speed that he can give himself, so he should be fine to get away.
And Selfie did finally come through. Froggen's like, nah, you're not going to be able to catch me. That's not a thing that's going to happen for this one. So let's have a look at where we stand. We're about to hit 27 minutes into the game. Both teams with 3 turrets apiece. But it's the Super Hot Crew with that superior dragon control, 6-2 leading kills as well. They're currently leading the way when it comes to gold. Still sat at a 4,000 lead as we see the recall coming in. It managed to stop Mr. Rose. Solar Flare goes down. Shouldn't happen, really.
It really, really shouldn't at this level of play. And that's just unfortunate. It might happen again. Not this time. It's just unfortunate. Mr. Rolls was convinced half a second would have been the difference, and gets caught out, gives up a kill. So 1, 2, and 5. My fantasy team will be unhappy with that death. And I do want to say Super Hot Crew, they played aggressively. They pushed the bottom lane, they pushed the mid lane. Unfortunately for them, Alliance got ahead early on. Wicked is already very scary. He was pushing the top lane out, he got that tower uncontested, and now they're trying to focus him down.
Speaking of Wicked, actually it's a great cocoon from Impaler landing over the top of the wall. Meanwhile, we do see that Mima is pushing on the top side of the map, but it's all about Dragon here. Alliance in position. They're going to take it faster than the Super Hot Crew can react certainly to the Dragon, but the Super Hot Crew are pushing mid.
Yeah, they might lose towers. Super Hot Crew have backed away from the mid lane, realizing they don't want to be collapsed upon. They only had 3 members there, and if you'll notice, Mr. Rolls is behind. So Alliance going to be trading Dragon for tower. It is a 28-minute Dragon at a higher level, so it should be getting close to its max value. So I think Alliance will get more gold out of the trade, but obviously not having that tower to fall back to is very, very important. If Super Hot Crew do start playing the split push game with Shyvana and the Yasuo, it's an easier lane to get down to the inhibitor turret now, because obviously there's nothing left standing, nothing in its way. Bottom lane also, tower went down, so Super Hot Crew a tower to the good when compared to Alliance.
Looking strong, that's for sure. Also searching, of course, for their first win of the season. It's only their second game, though, so, you know.
Gotta start somewhere, Joe.
Gotta start somewhere. I think I was looking for a story that didn't really exist at that point after only 1 game played for them. But there's more wards taken down for the Super Hot Crew, keeping a good control of vision when it comes to the Baron pit. Froggen and Tabs actually pushing up this mid lane. This could get interesting if the Super Hot crew decide to try and flank around the backside of them. As it happens, they don't know. Mimer actually did just go back home, pick himself up a couple more items. Got himself Blade of the Ruin King now. Randuin's will be finished fairly soon as well.
So something that we haven't touched on or I haven't highlighted regarding the team comps, the way these team fights will play out. We'll talk about that in a moment as Super Hot crew have actually started the Baron. It's going down quickly, but I think they'll need to peel and fight. They will need to peel and fight. Shook and Wicked are arriving. We will fail us, trying to protect.
Put down the box, but there is a Baron already going down. They're going to go in for Shook. Can they hold him down? Yes, they can. Surely it's Mr. Rawls that gets that kill. Oh, not quite landing onto Froggen, but the Super Hot crew rushed down the Baron before they could get there. Credit to We Will Fail Her for really zoning and keeping the Alliance away for so long.
Decisive play from Super Hot crew. They rush Baron. We Will Fail Her made the call, or whoever the captain is that said, I will stop them. I'll put the box down. I'll put the play down. You stick on Baron. You stick on Baron. Hey, they learned from yesterday. They stuck on Baron. They didn't run the risk of giving it away. So now Super Hot crew have got a 5,000 gold lead. They've a numbers advantage, and they're going to siege down this mid turret. They also have their key ultimates available, with the exception of the box. All of their damaging spells are still there, which is very good for them.
And still pushing on through here. That is the final turret outside of Alliance's base that was left standing. Puts them up 6-4. Cocoon landing on towards Tabs, and that's a max range hook. Will it follow through? Yes, it will. Throwing all the ultimates in. Tabs going very low. Wild Growth actually keeps him alive for quite a while in this one, but they're also very low. And Selfie, he's trying to mop up the kills. He's going to get at least Wicked. He gets the knock up onto Froggen, but they don't follow through. They should take the inning though.
That was very good skill shot. Impaler lands the Cocoon. We Will Fail Her follows up with the death sentence, and connecting the CC allowed them to find the picks and find the kills. They've got another tower down, the first inhibitor of the game, and they're going to back away. One of the keys to the Super Hot crew's comp is it synergizes so well with each other, and because their skill shots are made easier when your opponents are jumping into your face, the point I wanted to make earlier, Irelia, Lee Sin, Leona, they want to get close range, they want to be clumped together, which just means Yasuo, Shyvana, Draven have an easier time of landing their ultimates and their AoE spells. Super Hot crew did a great job. They found a pick onto Tabs. They found just a perfect skill shot that has completely given them control. With Baron and Super Minions, it is now their game to lose.
Definitely is. We've seen bigger games, I guess we could say, lost. Couldn't get my words out there either. Bigger leads lost is what I was trying to say in the past. We'll see how the Super Hot crew go. We heard from Frog, and he said it himself, that some of the problems that they have with those late game calls and decision making is a problem for the Super Hot crew as well as Alliance. However, I have to say, the Super Hot crew, when it came to the Baron and the push there down towards that bottom side and the fight, they were very, very decisive. There was no messing around there or any real hesitation to get things started.
I concur. In comparison to their performance yesterday, much more on the ball, much more active in making decisions. It's actually reminiscent of Gambit. Gambit yesterday, not on the same page, not making plays. Today, absolute monsters. And it just feels like the whole of Super Hot crew is their thought processes are aligned, which makes you go, this must be a scrim composition. These must be champions that the team has played online, has played together in the past. Selfie yesterday looked somewhat lost on Twisted Fate. He struggled in lane. He lost 1v1 against Curb multiple times. Now on Yasuo, he's 4-0-4. He's out-CS'd Froggen. And he's just doing a very, very good job at being in the right place and getting the right ultimates off when they're needed. So Super Hot crew now sieging. Super Minions will be pushing in the bottom lane. There's no minions there to slow them down. So let's see if any CC can land. If Super Hot crew connects with something, I think they'll go in.
I think so as well. Well, they've already done it once, so if they land the right hook here onto the right person, actually Wicked got chunked down by Mr. Rawls. He is doing incredible amounts of damage. They've actually sent Tabs away here to clear that bottom lane, so that gives them the opportunity to force their way in on the top side of the map. It's going to be Mimer who actually has to tank that one up. Hook from We Will Fail and the Cocoon both missing there as Wicked again gets hit by Mr. Rawls and again loses a ton of health.
Yeah, and Super Hot crew keep chunking the tower down. While they are stacking up, It's not a 5-man stack. So Nif is being very cautious on that solar flare. He doesn't want to use it. There are super minions now going to the Nexus turrets. This is the point where Super Hot Crew have to engage. They've caught Shook. They haven't gone in yet.
Don't go in there, but they do see the cocoon landed there on towards Froggen. They're focusing the tower already down to half HP. That's a nice little push. And look at the base itself. The Nexus turrets are going to be hit on here by those super minions. They sent Tabs actually back to do that one, but now the fight starts. Mima using his ultimate to back away from that one. Baron just timed out. Alliance might see a chance here.
Yeah, a lot of damage got put down onto Mima. He is the very, very important frontline for Super Hot Crew. So I think it's smart of them to back away. We do see those super minions being cleared out by Tabs in the bottom lane. So Super Hot Crew unable to crack the defense of Alliance in this occasion. They will grab themselves a dragon, extend that gold lead further. Realistically, probably set up for Baron. I mean, they made an incredibly good call earlier, stuck to it, got the objective, got some kills, and then followed that through for even more. And with a 9,000 gold lead, see if you can repeat it.
Well, Alliance pushing out as far as they possibly can. You can see that Tabs approaching the halfway point of the map, just trying to keep those waves away from the base here. Stop the likelihood of the Super Hot Crew being able to push through on more than one front. Baron coming up in just over 1 minute's time. And that's going to be a bit of a magnet, I think, for the Super Hot Crew coming into it. Alliance are going to have to challenge for it.
They should have challenged the previous one, but they had no idea what was going on. You know, just very good decisive play. And it's actually something Super Crew's done twice this game. The very first dragon, they just took uncontested.
Yeah.
Alliance weren't there. They had no idea it happened. The first Baron, by time Alliance knew it was going on, it was too late. So the Super Hot Crew have been one step ahead of Alliance in the bigger picture. But it took a little while to get there because Alliance did have a pretty strong early game, did have pretty strong rotations through the laning phase. So now with 36 seconds before Baron is up, there are pink wards in the pit. Super Hot Crew know they have vision control. As long as Mima is pushing the bottom lane, there is always that threat that if Alliance initiate a fight first, they have Wicked with them, and Super Hot Crew will need to wait for the teleport.
Stepping forward there, the hook not quite landing. Cocoon does land onto Wicked, but they don't seem to want him as the initial target. But here comes the teleport. Mima going to be joining the party. They've managed to catch out Froggen. He's going to take a big blast. Wild Growth will keep him alive. Shook trying to get Mr. Rolls out of the fight. Did a decent job of it, but now they chase in. Nif's the first one to fall. This could very well be the last fight for Alliance in this game. Wicked will be chased down and finished off. Selfie gets that one. 2 men down here. The Super Hot Crew going to push.
They're going to be able to get 2 inhibitors out of this deal. 2 kills. The fight went pretty well for Alliance at the start, but unfortunately, they don't have burst damage. They don't have somebody to just destroy somebody instantly. And because of the fact that Super Hot Crew had the time to get the support they needed, they have burst damage. They have a Yasuo that's melting. They've caught Shook.
They've caught Shook, and he's probably going to die for it as well. Selfie it is that finishes off that one. First Nexus turret goes down. Tabs trying to hold them up from the back, but Mr. Rolls in a 1v1, absolutely destroying him. They've gone fairly low on HP now. They've lost Yasuo, and the Cully comes through. That's going to give them 2 kills. Impaler will have to flash away. Miner will go down to Tabs. Disaster maybe here for the Super Hot Crew.
Definitely, no doubt about it. Super Hot Crew give up 4 members of their team. This opens Alliance up to the Baron. There is enough members alive, and Froggen's gonna keep chasing Impaler. Changes his mind when he realizes Impaler's gotten away, and of course Baron is something they can secure. So the rest of Alliance should pick this one up. Impaler can't contest, he's too far away, too low, he won't get there in time. Over-aggression. Super Hot Crew felt they could have gone for the win, stuck around too long, and through the prolonged fight from mid all the way to the base, they just got shut down, just gave up too much. So, at the end of the day, Alliance are going to grab themselves the Baron. They may even kill Impaler as well.
Yes, I believe so. Solar Flare coming in, the kill, Cullen from the side. It's not the kill in either. Impaler uses the repel to get away, but will he get chased down? No, again. Great max range cocoon onto him. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, those super minions going to have to be cleared out.
Yeah, so there are super minions in middle and bottom. So even though Alliance have Baron buff on their side, they need to deal with all of the map control Super Hot Crew have earned. There is this window where Super Hot Crew now need to... They actually have the option of picking a fight. They have a 10,000 gold lead. Even though Alliance has Baron buff, the gold lead should give them the strength, the item lead, to pick those fights. But Super Hot Crew have struggled at the sieging stage. they haven't actually been able to crack those towers of Alliance when Alliance have been defending as a whole team. So let's see how Super Crew do this. I mean, the only option available for them is to go top lane, wait for super minions to get into the base of Alliance, and then try to seize the tower. But they have to do something different to what they did previously.
Oh, Mima is a hero and TP's into the base. Not going to happen though, at least for now, because there's no ward in there for him to actually TP into, and his teleport is on cooldown. So,
but you're planning ahead, Joe.
I'm planning ahead. I'm planning ahead.
So Super Hot Crew, they have that ability, they have the opportunity to them. Super Hot Crew still also have a lot of base to get through. So even if Super Hot Crew lose a terrible team fight or lose a few members in Alliance's territory, it takes a lot longer for Alliance to get all the way up and really push down the base quite as heavily as Super Hot Crew have done to Alliance. So that opportunity is there. But they can't run the risk of getting clean ace. They cannot run the risk of losing everybody. And that's great work there by Tabs. All of the damage from that piercing light is just clearing those waves pretty effectively. And once Froggen gets there as well, there is pretty good wave clear from those two champions alone.
Alliance setting up a little bit of a trap here, off to the side of the wall. There's the scan coming through. Waiting for Super Hot Crew to actually step out. Wicked goes out of the base there, but still a danger. Hot comes through, they manage to catch Froggen. This is going to be the fight. Ulti's coming in. Froggen's going to go down. Wicked's the next target in this one, surely. He's trying to run away from things and tanking him quite long here. We will Thaler himself has fallen low. Shug will be the next focus, and surely now, like dominoes, Alliance are going to fall. There is another one onto Wicked. Selfie gets that one. Nif being a bit of a boss there as Selfie goes down to the tower in the end, and now Tabs coming out of the base, getting cocooned up. He's gonna fall as well. There's the ace. The Super Hot Crew gonna push through and win.
They find the key skill shot, locking Froggen up. They blow him up, and the Super Hot Crew, the 8% that believed in the Super Hot Crew, are going to be elated. It's the 11th win of the year in the LCS in total, their first of the summer split, and that was a very good performance.
And against an Alliance team that looked pretty scary yesterday, certainly in the mid and late game against the Copenhagen Wolves. And again, I have to draw the parallels to Gambit from day one, where they looked to be almost non-existent when it came to the result of those two games. Super Hot Crew looked very, very good today.
Very impressed. The Yasuo pick for Selfie, that is my favorite champion I've seen him play. If you look at Selfie, you look at him, LeBlanc, Fizz, Twisted Fate, he's Oriana. That was a phenomenal performance on Yasuo, and very importantly, when the team fights happen, Super Hot Crew had incredibly crisp calling, incredibly crisp focus, and they convincingly beat Alliance in the team fights.
And the synergy was there as well. We already talked about Yasuo with the Copenhagen Wolves, that there wasn't much.
No, you had a
in
Trundle
terms of the
pillar.
knock-up, right?
Like, Trundle pillar, great.
This team had it all though. He could choose his targets easy because Mima just piles on in and then he says, okay, I'll pick my targets.
The only target they couldn't have displacement was Elise. Draven's stand aside. Thresh has got his flay, has got the ability. Mima, when he dives in there with Shyvana, the Shyvana Yasuo combo is what we've seen the Chinese teams doing at Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. And it was great. And when you look at Alliance's composition, the majority of the champions want to be clumped together. They want to be grouped. And that's just like, well, perfect. Let's hit you with multi-man displacements and let Yasuo dive in there as well. So very good play from Super Crew.
Let's talk about Alliance for a moment here, because as we said, yesterday's game was not won during the laning phase. This was a tough laning phase for them once again. I mean, they had really good early signs. We saw a lot of pressure onto middle, as the Super Hot Crew actually predicted from that one. Selfie himself said Shook is going to be in that mid lane, constantly trying to help Froggen get ahead.
Shook brought the rest of the team as well. I mean, we've seen Wicked trying to get in there. We've seen Nif moving up there from time to time as well. I really like the way Alliance handled their early game. I almost feel like they put so much focus and emphasis on their early game and their decision making. It came at the expense of some of their maybe communication and team calling. Their heads appeared to me at least to be in the laning phase. And once we got to those team fights, Super Hot Crew just had much better organization. And they did it yesterday. Against Millennium, 44 minutes into the game, Super Hot Crew were just like, hey, we can win this team fight. Let's go for it. We're like 14,000 gold down. Screw it. All in.
Just randomly turned up and things worked out for them in that one. I mean, the decision making, I pointed that out during the actual game itself. The move, that's such a decisive move to say, Baron, we go for it, we stay on Baron, we will fail, it does all the zoning work, we take it down before they even get there. He threw the box down, Alliance couldn't get in, Flay came in as well, and they couldn't push through it.
So yesterday, Super Hot Crew were like, Baron, let's go. And Kerp steals it. It ends up, if they had secured that Baron, that could have been a win for them. Today's Baron call was much better. So what this tells you is that whoever is making the Baron calls is either doing one that's a little risky, and it paid off once, didn't pay off the other time, or alternatively, today their heads were just a little more in the game. It is something we'll have to watch because there's a whole bunch more games, and Baron can win you or lose your games.
Well, great win for the Super Hot Crew, and we have Shox and Deficio with Super Hot Crew's Mr. Rawls with them after that match. So let's check in.
Thank you very much, Joe. We do have Mr. Raleigh here with us after that fantastic win for the Super Hot Crew. Talk me through picks and bans, because yesterday, obviously, not the best start for you guys here in Super Week. What did you change going into this game?
This game, we wanted to have Wicked on Irelia because we are really comfortable with playing Shyvana against it. And then we wanted to pick a Draven because we knew that they would either ban or first pick Lucian, while Twitch will be banned from our side. So I had to pick up a new AD, and it was either picking Graves or Draven. So yesterday I spent Draven in solo queue to prepare for it.
So when do you actually pick Draven? Like, when is he a very strong pick, and what is it Draven brings to the table?
Well, Draven obviously have high damage, and he's a very snowbally champion. So if you can get early kills, you will destroy everyone. And I got 1 kill where I got 700 gold, which snowballed me a little bit, but not really that much.
And then also, you built Ghostblade as your second item. I assume that is simply because, again, you got the kill you needed. It's a great snowball item. But wasn't it a little bit risky? Also, you didn't even upgrade your boots. You were very immobile. You didn't have the extra HP for Trinity Force when you're against like Leona, Liceno, Aurelia, all these champions who could jump you.
Yeah, it was very risky to go for it. But we were ahead, and our comp we had to snowball. So I thought the humans would be way better.
Talk me through Selfie's performance as well. He did very, very well today, from a 2.8 KDA yesterday to an 8 KDA today. What was it in your team comp that made him do better, or was he just less nervous than he was yesterday?
Well, I think Selfie is still choking a little bit on the stage, and picking him TF is making him able to take decisions by himself, and that's something he has to do, and that, yeah, he couldn't really do that yesterday because of TF. While today he's on his most comfortable champion, Yasuo, which we didn't even expect to get.
What about We Will Fail It then? Your new support, of course you're laning with him. What does he bring to the team, and how is he to play with?
Well, Fela is talking a lot more, and he's making the team way more happier. And yeah, it's way easier to talk about things, while with Mixa it was a little bit awkward.
They also had a great hook at the end there to close things out. Congratulations, always a pleasure,
Thank
Mr. Vale. We need to take a short break, but we'll return with the second half of the day and 3 more LCS matches, beginning with SK facing the Copenhagen Wolves. Keep it right here.
Landing on towards Tabs, and that's a max range hook. Will it follow through? Yes, it will. Throwing all the ultimates in. They've gone fairly low on HP now. They've lost Yasuo, and the Cully comes through. That's going to give them 2 kills. Impaler will have to flash away. Minor will go down to Tabs. Hook comes through. They manage to catch Froggen. This is going to be the fight. Ulti's coming in. Froggen's going to go down. Wicked's the next target in this one, surely. He's trying to run away from things.